to walk you through an ancient text that I've just decoded. I call it the POOPNOMICON, and it's just the text we need in humanity today. I'll tell you why. It touches on a subject that we're all touched by, but we're all pretty afraid of touching. And it's going to bring up some deep, dark, metaphysical secrets, such as the Oracle of Delphi says, know thyself. And that other guy, as above, so below. So let me pose a question. How can you be so afraid of this? And if so, why is it your favorite emoticon? So if there are already beautiful ladies explaining the grosser parts of this procedure on YouTube and sort of average medicinal white guys explaining the beautiful healthy parts of this process, what am I doing here? Well, I want to lift the veil on this process, because in my humble opinion, no one's talking about the real shit. The very same shit talked about by either Norman Mailer or Henry Miller, I can't remember which one, when they witnessed the entire universe in a single aspect. That's because this is technically a dark ritual. This is an occult magic. But what does occult even mean? Why, it just means hidden. Hidden from view. And that's exactly what your bowels are. I kind of think of them like the core of the earth. You can feel its rumblings, you can hear its distant commotion, you know it's out there, and you have a sneaking suspicion that your entire existence is resting precariously atop it, but you have no way to really access it. That's why ancient cultures have always had some sort of a technique or a method for lifting this darkness into the light, just to check it out, just to face the facts. Just to diagnose the engine and see what's going on. Call it like it is. Textual reference for the enema technique goes as far back as the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Essene Gospels, and ancient yogic techniques. What did the yogis do? I'll tell ya. Why, they'd squat in a river and they'd clench and unclench and clench until they got enough river water up there to just fill her up and then come swishing back out. Alternatively, they'd swallow a ribbon and just hope to God that it could scramble along and pick up as much crap as possible before the finish line. You could do that, or what did the Essenes do? Reading to you from their gospel, I tell you truly, the uncleanliness within is greater by much than the uncleanliness without. Then let the water run out from your body, that it may carry away from within all the unclean and evil-smelling things of Satan. Afterwards, rest kneeling on the ground and pray to the living God that he will forgive you all your past sins, and pray to the angel of water that he will free your body from every uncleanness and disease. Now, if that isn't the definition of exorcism. As far as I can tell, us whiteys were the last to join the party, around about World War I, when some German nurses poured some coffee into some enema buckets that were hooked up to some patients who were feeling some pain. Reportedly, after that unconventional treatment, they felt a great reduction in pain. So, boom bada bing, a couple of research articles later by some German scientists, and we now know that the caffeine from coffee is able to shoot up through your hemorrhoidal veins, creep up to your liver portal duct, and tickle on it until it encourages all of the bile that's been stored in there to come roaring out like a geyser. So what does that even mean, your portal duct is open? Well, to me, it means an extreme openness that's not just limited to your butthole. It's your entire body-mind complex. Because a lot of us really hold on to anger and rage and jealousy and resentment. At least I do. So if you read books like The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot or The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, PhD, you'll find pretty convincing evidence that our body and mind are exactly the same thing. Thus, physical detox is inevitably going to lead to psychological detox. And that is a great thing. Or it's magic. So why are so many of us normies still so shy about approaching something so seemingly dark, so seemingly pagan, so seemingly dirty? Well, I postulate it's because we're afraid to face the dark matter that actually makes up ourselves. We're afraid to admit the truth, or admit responsibility even, that you are what you eat, that what goes in does come out. What could you possibly be afraid of? What it would feel like? What people would say? I say, if there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to fear. You're a wizard, Harry. So now you know that it's a dark magic. So you must also be aware that you can't just dive right in. You have to be willing to make the appropriate sacrifices, and that means your old diet. In order to build up sufficient magic points to rule this magic, you have to juice lots and lots of fresh fruits and veggies, or else the spell's a no-go, my friend. So you're ready. You're ready for phase 1, to find out what's inside of Poodora's box. The bucket, the one you've heard about. Coffee, 100% organic. USDA and OTCO certified. Pretty sure OTCO is a secret society that will hound you for the rest of your life. Coffee strainer, because you don't want little chunks where you've already got little chunks. The tube, you know what for. The clamp, to stop the you-know-what. And the mat, oh yes, the mat. A single one-time use, blue, crinkly, hospital-quality baby bed mattress covering mat that you'll only use once and hopefully never need to repurchase. That's it. Other stuff you may want to purchase on your own time. The classic work of literature by Max Gerson and his daughter. Don't treat this like the Bible, you know? Just read it, realize whatever you like in there, use whatever you like. But maybe you should also invest in a Bible. Maybe your granddad has one. This is handy when you're on the toilet and the shit's getting real. You might need to exercise some of those demons. Grab your buckets, bucket heads. Let's go. So you're ready for phase 2. Here we are in the kitchen, where some of the YouTube magic has already been done for you. But you need to put the tube on the bucket. At home, make sure the clamp forcefully closed. Now, in order to make the coffee mixture... To be honest, you can find these instructions anywhere else. I'm not truly concerned with you ever actually performing a physical enema. I'm just here to provide an enema for your mind. Now wipe that shit-eating grin off your face and let's head to the tub. Not to bore you with some light bathroom reading, but I'd like to revisit a couple of gentlemen that forced us as a culture to revisit our youth. Surely you've heard of Erik Erikson and Sigmund Freud. They've both described in their phases a single phase that really had to do with toilet training. I'm talking vitally important to your personality is how you pooed when you were about 1 year old to 3 years old. Erik Erikson saw this as the conflict between shame and autonomy. So you were sort of developing personal growth. So if you won the game, you came out very secure, very confident. But if you lost the game, you came out very insecure and very doubtful of your own abilities.
He who is ashamed would like to force the world not to see, not to notice his exposure. He would like to destroy the eyes of the world.
Now, Sigmund Freud in the same phase saw it as a conflict between the ego and the superego, and that these forces were really shaped by your parents and how they treated you when you were on the can. So, if your parents were too lenient, you got what was called an anal expulsive personality. And if your parents were a bit too strict, you developed what was known as an anal retentive personality. We all know that one.
He who has eyes to see can convince himself that no mortal can keep a secret. If his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips. Betrayal oozes out of him at every pore.
They both tell us about this phase. Who do you believe? Neither of them. I'd like to talk to you about Carl Gustav Jung. I'm gonna take a short break to wipe this off my face. That's better. into the deep, dark stuff of his own mind, and he discovered down there what he termed the shadow. Let me read to you. The shadow is simply the dark side of the self-personality. The shadow is only seen indirectly through projection onto others. Now, taking that together with the knowledge that we have now about our gut being our second brain that actually releases almost as many hormones as your actual brain, you realize that if you have some stinky stuff down there, you're going to have some stinky emotions running through your body based on the neurotransmitters and the hormones that are coursing through your veins. So if you feel like shit, you're going to treat other people like shit, plain and simple. If you're feeling good, you're going to treat other people good too. One is always inclined to lay the blame on external circumstances, but nothing could explode in us if it had not been there. Kind of a crude, gross statement when you take it in context with what we're talking about today, but it's true. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. So, by bringing your poop to the surface.
Now, for my final magic trick. I want you to look again and tell me what you see.